In the not-too-distant future, the government is run for profit by the new royal class of multinational CEOs. Their greed and absolute control of the economy has reduced all but a privileged few to live lives of poverty and desperation. Out of the oppressed masses rose an underground band of partisans, fighters focused on overthrowing these powerful rulers. The valiant effort of these rebels have created discord, intrigue, and weakness in the political courts of the nouveau royal, bringing the government to the brink of collapse. But for you, a powerful government official, this is your opportunity to manipulate, bribe, and bluff your way into absolute power. To be successful, you must destroy the influence of your rivals and drive them to exile. In these turbulent times, there's only room for one to survive. Hey everyone, welcome to the first episode of What the Heck Is, a new series that I'll be starting with this video right here, where I'll be doing a brief overview and tutorial of board games, things of that nature in general, and I'll have timestamps down below so that you can go and scan through the video if there's a specific part in question that you're looking for. For the first episode, we'll be doing Coup, a game that I kind of hold near and dear. I wouldn't say it's the best game I've ever played, but for some reason it's a game that I've always sat down and enjoyed every time that I've had a group of friends that is into playing it and wants to play it, and I've played multiple times back to back. But enough of that, let's go ahead and get right into the meat and potatoes. Coup is a high-stakes hit-and-roll game designed by Ricky Tada and illustrated by Jarek Nokon, released in 2013 by Indie Boards and Cards. Coup comes in a nice small box containing 5 different character role cards, those being the Duke, the Contessa, the Ambassador, the Captain, and the Assassin. There are 3 copies of each of these character cards, making up the total pool of 15 character cards included in the box. It also comes with 6 summary cards, 50 coins, and a booklet of rules. Getting to the game setup, Coup is a game that supports 2 to 6 players of ages 14 and up, with an estimated playtime of about 15 minutes. And in general, the setup is pretty cut and dry. Once a number of players has been decided, you shuffle all the character cards and deal out 2 randomly to each player. While a player may look at their cards at any moment, they must be kept face down in front of them and should remain hidden from all other players. Then, the remaining cards are placed within reach of all other players and become the court deck. Afterwards, give each player 2 coins. Again, place the remainder coins pretty much within everyone's reach because you're going to be going towards these a lot. Also, special note, each player's money must remain visible at all times. Lastly, everyone gets 1 summary card. This reference card is incredibly handy in your first few games, and I'm sure you'll be looking over it way past then too if need be. It is also recommended that players familiarize themselves a little bit with all the actions and characters before the game starts. Getting to the actual tutorial, we have to remember that Coup is a game where each player is a powerful government official out to destroy their opponent's influence by any means necessary. This is a game of bluffing, pushing limits, and cunning action. Each character has special actions or counter actions, which from this point on I'll be referring to as blocks, that can and will be used throughout the game. On the start of a player's turn, they get to choose which action they wish to do, or in some cases, attempt to do. When it comes to these actions, each player, regardless of their face-down character influence cards, have access to 3 general actions. Income, which gains you 1 money and cannot be blocked. Foreign aid, which gets you 2 money, but runs the risk of being blocked by a duke. Or, the current player may launch a coup by paying 7 coins and choosing one other player to lose an influence card. This action cannot be defended against, and this is usually how a lot of games are settled. Also note that if you ever have 10 or more coins, you must perform a coup as your next action. Players can also choose to perform a special action granted them by one of their face-down cards, which they may or may not actually even have. The Duke allows a player to do the tax action, gaining them 3 coins. Having a Duke also allows you to block another player's request for foreign aid. The Assassin kind of does as the name says, and lets players assassinate, meaning they can pay 3 coins and choose another player to lose an influence. The Ambassador allows players to use the exchange action, which lets them draw 2 cards from the court deck at random and then choose which of any to keep and exchange with their face-down cards. Once they have exchanged that with their face-down cards, they must return 2 cards back to the court deck. The Ambassador also grants players the ability to block the stealing action. The Captain allows players to steal 2 coins from another player, and likewise also grants them the ability to block stealing. Lastly, there's my favorite character card, the Contessa, who grants no new actions besides the ability to block assassinations, meaning you often kind of have to lie to get anything done if you have 1 or 2 contests as your face down cards. After an action has been chosen, other players may then challenge or block said action if applicable. Now, we've mentioned blocking a few times already, but what actually is it? Blocking is using character influence to deny another player from doing an action. If the block is successful, the block player doesn't perform the action they chose to do, but still loses any resources spent as cost for the action. In some cases, the block can also be challenged. But now we're getting into something else. What is a challenge? Anytime a player attempts to do or block an action using character influence, they can be challenged by another player that harbors any sort of doubts that they actually possess the relevant character card. If a player is challenged, they must prove that they had the proper influence by revealing that the relevant character is actually one of their face-down cards. If the player who's challenged cannot, or for whatever reason doesn't wish to, prove that they have the proper relevant character card, then they lose the challenge. Whoever loses a challenge immediately has to get rid of 1 influence. And whenever a player loses influence, they must flip over one of their face-down influence cards and leave it face up in front of them. And once players lose both of their influence cards, they are eliminated. Now, if a player wins a challenge by revealing the relevant card in question, then they must return the relevant card back to the deck, shuffle the deck, and randomly draw a new one. Also, if an action is successfully challenged, the entire action fails, meaning that any spent coins as the cost are then returned to the player. If an action is not challenge or block, then it immediately succeeds. After this point, the game continues going forward, with players taking, blocking, challenging actions until there remains 1 player left. And that's pretty much Coup. Let me know down below what you thought of not only just Coup, but also of this segment. I'll be doing more of these, and I'm really looking forward to do it. And honestly, who knows where we'll go from here. But thanks for being here. I appreciate you guys. I'll see you in the next time. Peace.